Welcome back to the Roto Moto Fantasy Preview Show. My name is Donnie. In this video, I will give you 5 riders to look at when making your PulpMX fantasy picks for the second round in Arlington, tips for picking FFLs, weather report, race day schedule, and even a very early look at what my team could be on Tuesday. But first, as always, we look back at the stats and info from the previous round. Arlington won, another expected drop in player count, but on the bright side, it is still much higher than 2020. 12,435 players total, of which 6,889 were of the paying variety. The perfect team from Arlington 1 would have included 2 52s, one from each class, and to dodge a few crucial landmines to tally a score of 322. Couple that with 2 FFLs, one predictable and one not, to climb all the way to 352. If we're being honest, I think it is absurd that 50 of you managed to pick Haymaker for the FFL. Talented or lucky? My bet on the latter. Those zeros I was talking about dodging earlier, not many people dodged them. A median championship score of just 165, a season low and a full 40 points lower than the season average. But don't feel too bad about your score. If you scored 166 or more, you did better than half of the paying field. All-stars per team stayed steady in the 2.5 region, meaning about half of you are still picking at least a third all-star. Was a decent night for double points, as all but 5 of the 30 managed to score at least 26. It wasn't a kind weekend for zeros, as almost 100% total pick trend was spent on big fat zeros, meaning the average team had at least one, not even counting Ferrandis and Jordan Smith, who were as good as a zero. In the Roto Moto League for Arlington 1, T. Gilfett took the victory with 243 on the back of Mitchell and Marty, despite leaving points on the table with Jace Owen and Ken Roxon. The season league stays in the hands of DM912, but for real this time. No jokes, he is legit in first place with 2,460 points, despite missing 200 for the second time this season. I had an abysmal showing, falling for the Jerry trap for no real reason other than I didn't like any 4th 250 guy better and decided I might as well go for broke. On the bright side, at the last minute, I did replace Jordan Smith with Jerry, a move that saved me when Jordan crashed out in the main, and sets myself up to pick him for Tuesday's Arlington round. I was among the 4,600 people that was gifted a big fat Marvin Zero, but at least I made the last minute call to dump Tickle for Zavachi to salvage the night. The ins and outs is a little incomplete for Tuesday, as there have been no updates on any of the injured riders' social medias, no posts from the guys that have gotten hurt during the race, and RaceRex also hasn't posted their injury report article. I've heard rumblings of a few guys returning for Tuesday's race, but nothing concrete, so I would err on the side of caution here and assume that all of those guys are out until you see them show up and qualify on Tuesday. All right, on to your picks for Arlington 2. For your 250 All-Star, I'm going to be looking at Garrett Marchbanks. He retains his 3 handicap from the weekend, and at this time is the only guy not named Justin or Cameron to finish in the top 5 in every main event this year. He has scored these top 5s despite getting unreasonably bad starts and still ripping his way through the field. No reason to get cute with your All-Stars. Consider Cooper if you can, but otherwise I would stay away from the other inconsistent young guns that make up the 250 All-Star cast. A 250 rider I want you to turn away from is Cody Shock. He has looked mad impressive this season, far exceeding I think everyone's expectations, maybe even his own, but a 1 handicap just lends no value to the Chaparral Honda rider. His best finish of 9th, which came on the outdoor-inspired track that obviously played to his strengths, means his ceiling is incredibly low. I would be shocked to see him score more than 30 points on Tuesday. For your 450 All-Star, I'm looking at Malcolm Stewart. His current handicap of 7 means he needs to get just 8th or better, something he has done 6 of the 10 rounds so far. That might seem low, but in comparison, Ken Roxon is the only rider that has a higher success rate of beating his current handicap this season, but one of those 2 for Ken was last week as he continues to lose momentum, where Malcolm continues to gain, in addition to his handicap going up 1 after whatever move he tried to pull with Anderson. A 450 rider sure to lead you to the double point promised land is Justin Brayton. The veteran Muck-Off Honda rider has only finished outside of the top 13 a single time this season and has finished as high as 3rd, so you know his upside is there. He is still recovering from that chest injury that kept him out for multiple rounds. However, I think he's a strong play here as he gets great starts on a track that could very well be, again, hard to pass on. The high handicap hero of the round, given to a rider with a handicap of 10 or more that I think has a realistic chance to score massive points this weekend if you're the type of person that likes to sweat out a little LCQ for a big payout. I think we have to spend another consecutive week talking about Clayson. He has now made 4 of the last 6 mains and has whole-shotted the previous 2 LCQs, and he still has a big fat handicap. The crazy fact is that Cade actually got a flat tire with 2 laps to go and still managed to nurse it home for a 4th place finish in that very LCQ. I'm not sure if I'm ready to send it on Cade, but he's definitely someone you should consider if you're looking to make up points on the field. The FFL, or first to the finish line, is an optional wager where you attempt to guess the rider in each main that reaches the finish line and is the first to start the opening lap. If your selected rider in each class is successful, you will earn 15 extra points for that week's score, but if you guess wrong, you subtract 7. This has been a banner year on why picking the FFL is a bad idea. Another rookie snags it with the likely players buried in the field. I don't really have anything to say, as Star Yamahas just don't look as dominant as they've been in the past, and those Pro Circuit Kawasaki seem to be having a renaissance over there. Justin Cooper is still the best and most consistent starter in the field, but he's just not getting it done, so I will be staying out of the 250 FFL game. The 450s, though, are a different story here, as it looks like Webb might have his 2019 start mojo back. I know he only has 2 on the season, but lest we forget that he practically threw away a whole shot at Daytona, specifically to bury Ken Roczen. I think he will emerge as the favorite moving forward, as Ken and Justin seem to have lost their edge, but as with the 250s, I would tread lightly here. We return to covered and climate-controlled AT&T Stadium for the second of a 3-race program in the second Lone Star State city this season. Daylight savings will throw a little hiccup in the schedule, with the night show starting an hour later than usual. Race Day Live with Blair and Hubbard will kick off at 2 p.m. Eastern and wrap up around 5:30. The enhanced cheat sheets will hit Patreon about 30 minutes after that at nearly 6 p.m., while the rest of you should watch Twitter and Instagram for the basic cheat sheet to drop around 6:30 p.m. The night show kicks off at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the Peacock app, but will be broadcast on a 2.5-hour tape delay for NBCSN. If you don't already have the Peacock app but you want to watch live, check out the free trial on the app or web browser to get a week free, enough to watch both Tuesday and Saturday's race. Before I show you my early team for Arlington 2, I just want to remind you that this is an entirely privateer operation. I research, write, shoot, edit, and post every single video by myself, in addition to making the cheat sheets and other content I post on here, Twitter, and Instagram. If you want to support me and help the channel grow, please consider checking out some of the merch from RotoMoto.co, including our super rad Never Change AMA shirt that was recently featured on the PulpMX show, worn by the very handsome Travis Marks. If you are serious about upping your fantasy game, consider subscribing to Patreon for access to an additional podcast for every race, our private Discord server, and most importantly, the enhanced cheat sheet that is packed full of so much race day data, it'll really make your head spin. And if you want to support but don't have the scratch to spare, the easiest way to help is by subscribing to the channel, commenting something constructive on the videos, and sharing the social media posts with your friends. My Monday morning team will consist of Garrett Marchbanks at a 3 in the 250 All-Star seat, conducting the troll train at a +1 with a ton of upside. Hopefully Jordan Smith can get his issues sorted out and stay on 2 wheels for 24 hours and cash in on that lofty 3 handicap. And Team Solitaire's Robbie Wageman rounds out my squad at a 7. If you haven't already, go check out Team Solitaire on YouTube. Their title sponsor, Nuclear Blast, is actually a metal record label, and it's refreshing to see some rock riding videos to feel all nostalgic for the wonder years. My 450 squad is anchored by Malcolm Stewart's 7 handicap. I have Chase Sexton at a -2, something I don't like doing, but honestly there just isn't a lot of value in this class. Brayton carrying his 3 into what I hope is a top 10 finish, and finally my man Big Rig Benny Bloss continuing his trend of hitting double points every single race following a stinker, which was what he had on Saturday. You won't catch me with any FFLs on my team, likely for the rest of the season, unless Cooper and Cooper pull out some consistency. Don't forget to follow at RotoMoto on Twitter and Instagram for qualifying insights, injury reports, status, and banter as the race goes on, and of course those ever important fantasy cheat sheets. And if you want even more help, be sure to check out and subscribe to RotoMoto on Patreon for access to the enhanced cheat sheet. I want to give a shout out to the current Patreon supporters. This channel is made possible by good people like Sam, Mike F, and the other Mike F. Thanks as always for watching RotoMoto. My name is Donnie, and I will see you on race day.